You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. Time to now move into our communities to look at some pressing issues that require our attention, all of us, authorities and citizens alike. Now, when you travel outside Ghana, there are a lot of things that will take your fancy. One of these is activities that happen on water, whether it's ports, whether it's some level of tourism stuff, whether it's cruise, anything, But when you come to our side of the world, it is an eyesore. You go to the beaches and sometimes, it's like you're battling when trying to swim, you're battling with filth, and that is the reality. Elsewhere, the beaches can't even be used for any kind of fun activities and all, because it's very, very difficult and sometimes very irritating, visiting beaches and all that, looking at plastics, fabrics,
and it's
everything that is there. It's so dirty. It's like we are not part of what is happening in the world. We tell ourselves that we are in the global village, but when you see what other people are doing and what we are doing, we the poor ones are rather the ones who can protect nature. The very things that nature has given us, to cultivate and enjoy, are the ones that we are using our very hands to destroy. This morning we are looking at activities at our beaches, the filth at our beaches. My colleague Rachel Engma, put a report together on beaches in Ghana. Let's take a look at it. When we come back, we'll have a conversation on that.
People from all corners of the globe embark on journeys to countries like Greece, Hawaii, Maldives, and more, all in search for the idyllic beaches they offer. The serene environments and the sight of crystal blue seas lure many travelers to these destinations, seeking an unforgettable tourist experience. However, in Ghana, particularly in the capital city of Accra, beaches can no longer be described as serene havens. Instead, they have become unfortunate hubs of filth and refuse. Join me as we embark on our tour of Kole, Jamestown, Osu, and La beaches. The scene before us is utterly appalling. Mounds of rubbish, predominantly plastic waste, dominate the landscape. The pressing question arises: who is responsible for such deplorable acts?
Moya he neke ba jolebie. Ma ba ka ba jolebie.
Be a truni no.
Be a truni ni wule nyoni.
Na bi.
Wo no koneke nya hon ha me na ba hiolo.
Money no ni ahun. Shin wole yani ahun he.
E ho tojin to mo eni ahun.
Wole mo ye bi ahun no. Wole wo kale o bi ke shin. Ye wonu chun. No, to me na ka ba ni no wa le ni. Oji onu mi ochi osu. E ba lo itoyin. Wole
Ke okwe beni achi nuke drinks gen a shebie. Don't you think I can know who in litter environment alone know who in cause some kind of death can filthy environment and no fit I destroy beer sanitation wise.
Okay, I mean bo onu pa me be ke bi han le no sugar mbata le yo no le wole.
Open defecation has also become a distressing ritual, directly impacting fishing activities along the beaches. Conversations with local fishermen reveal their frustration with the growing trend. Samuel Hammond, the chief fisherman at Kole Beach, sheds light on the issue.
Gota mi an lo gbe an wo gota mi fe ba an show mi. O ko wa nwe an again. Ke gbe ba mi bi e be ke lo eje me. Ke gbe ba di nu mi no be ke lo eje me. En fa ba jofo ki awon. O go allo o ki ya mba ne ni ba lo gbe lo an fe am pele ami. Mo fe on ba jofo. E ba so gbe e fe no kwa ba. Ona ofolo na mu. Nu pa ko me ba na be ni e yo le han. To me ni e ba yin interview mi ni onukwe kumemba namba interview ono na nkwe beni sani ame onukwe ma we beni sani afi kamba interview to no oyo ne kamti amba don onye nogo wo fi ayage egweji ame nutumo no bebi ane beni yo la jike yo ba bi ne ba shwe no sa fiu.
Fishmongers shared their first-hand experiences with our news team, recounting how fishermen often haul in more plastic than fish. This unfortunate reality negatively affects their businesses.
Kabashi by this time na ka achake me oni ono. Wana no ko ni chuake. Achake. Insure na dwe eni sana mu na keje pampama keboti onu emi. Kabashi bi ane anya ko na agbene dwe enwe ya ko chone mi baba oni dwe enwe jo e baba o keba ene wo ke lo rubber agbonike na ebote insure mi na amulo e chope e se ko lo egbele keke egbele wonu emi e wo tan be ni sanu wona lo ponu won because of mujin egbe oloji yen e wo lo epo wonye wona kwa ni no kaka e no ko na ba fe abomode ni insure ni bola jin ojo akesi vi awon nujin afi gota jin afi na bu na ke lo jo ejin ninu de ja bote insure mi se sure jo e fa em cho ewe ha ni lo apoka te wo po na lo e ja ke lo jin ko me ke ba o na ke na rubber jinu na emule ke ba le kan ko be nu wo ba fe because egbo no ke fe na kan no egbo mo sa no ke ya lo nshila che de egbo shika na ke te wo e fa fe lo nshila shika no no ya ho egbo shika na ke te wo bi anto no wo na ya shika na ke wo no ne ke 8,000 9,000 dana baya wo ka ga ba ni ji lo e ni agbo eje bibi ye dana baba ni lo ko ya mi ni ro be mo le omo na efite na ke ba sa no kan lo nshirache ni lo nshirache ne ke ko ele 500 lo 400 ye wo le nyu de na efite ba nye le 50 cedi lo 100 cedis
Shatter beach shatter ni je o sha 14 show na ni jo e ya kwa jo e ma gon ye je eyin no ko fe mo ye je mi o mo ye wo le no mo ye lo ye o mo ye wo aka won kenan ye no no wo shiun won won wo bi ene ko na me ke yi oni ngene ka te wa ba na lo o sika no yin akan ya school aye le bi so le gbe ke sika fe tan won nu pa ni yo won pa fai ne ke ayin abu ama na sika fite mo ke ni bi won pa fai aka ba sa ne ke ko le ne ke agbon sigada we gota agbo agbe e won pa fai onupa eni yo mi wo me na kan je egbe fun agbe na fe eko yan wo si elale Daniel e wo gbagba sete ni Daniel agbo Daniel eba benu na aka ile mo ka kele se ko ba ka se egbo mi ni ewo.
The impact of this bizarre situation along the beaches extends beyond the fishing community to include beachgoers, particularly families who seek leisure and relaxation. Patrick Bansa, accompanied by his wife and children, expresses their disappointment as they fail to enjoy their time due to the overwhelming stench emanating from the filth.
You know, when coming to the seaside, at least the first thing, the place should be neat. Like your swimming pool in your house should be neat for me. So it's even drawing us away from entering the water. Yes, it's very much part of it.
Numerous beach visitors who interacted with the Citi News team expressed their growing disillusionment, stating that the beaches no longer hold the same allure they once did.
This place will not attract any foreigner to come and visit because it's very terrible. No one can come here for tourist attraction, never. So the government should do something about it.
Residents living in proximity to the beaches in the national capital have also noticed a concerning increase in malaria cases within their communities. They attribute this rise to the filth present at the beaches.
It's causing a lot of damage, like giving people sickness. Even when you come to the beaches, you are not enjoying anything because snapping pictures is making everything dirty. When you have snapping pictures, it's not encourageable, and it's giving malaria, a lot of sickness, diarrhea.
If you are here in the night, you see the way this thing they are calling it tuntum. When I country life, they call it in tuntum. Hey, this thing, how did I call it? This kind of fly in the night. If you are here, hey, you can't stand here. They will bite you and you get sick, you will die. So everybody will vanish right now. by seconds, no, you don't see everybody.
Samuel James Ni Ejetewia, the municipal chief executive of the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly, laments the detrimental effects of such activities on local tourism and the revenue generated by the assembly.
We have a Zoel and then I think an NGO working in collaboration with Zoom Lion to keep our beaches clean. So most of the other people that we had employed earlier have been redeployed to other areas, and some of them are doing the drain work, etc. Every now and then, when it rains, we have a lot of filth coming from the mountains or from other far-off places, and this is where it enters the sea. So after every rainfall, be it big or small, we have the whole of the beachfront covered with all sorts of filth, all sorts. So what we do now is that because it is happening very, very frequent, we are not able to just keep to the quarterly dredging that we do ourselves. We get heavy equipment to come in and do the dredging to allow the sea to, the sand to be moved aside for the water to flow. Then we find a way of also sieving out the refuse from getting into the ocean. So that is done. Now, because it happens very frequently, we now have some laborers. So in between the quarterly routine work that we are having to do, they come, we have the tools by ourselves, then we give it to them, then they clear in between. Or when it rains, and we've only just had one of the major works done.
Furthermore, Ni Ejetewia issues a stern warning declaring that individuals caught disposing of refuse along the beaches will face appropriate sanctions.
So in our municipality where we have control, at least people that are found to be doing such things are punished. Some of them have been taken through the court process already, and more will follow. It's something that is ongoing. And then we have people to openly defecating along some of this path, Osu, Ano area. When we get you, we deal with you. And then also along, again, the Odo River, people do similar things. And all these people, once they are arrested, they are brought to book.
And you know, that is the issue that we have to deal with, you know, filth at our beaches. Now, this is not funny anymore. Because, David, you know, last year I was in Cape Town at some point, and you could tell how people, you know, are using things that nature gave them, you know, to support their economies, you know, to create a whole lot of activities on that. You know, I saw that, and the first thing that came to mind was, Galamsey, in our part of the country, we don't value all these things. Now, apart from destroying our water bodies, apart from we having issues with drinking water, you know, and the fact that we are destroying our rivers and water bodies, you know, there's so much we can do. Now we're talking about swimming competition, we are looking at water sports, we are looking at even killing, you know, the living things in our water. And we are not paying attention to this. Throwing all kinds of things in our water bodies, you know, destroying our beaches. Elsewhere, the beachfront properties are the most expensive.
Yes.
But here, when they even dash you, you won't take it.
You won't take it. It's true. Yeah. Because I think, again, one of the challenges that we have in Ghana is that it's almost like the abundance that we have received naturally has made us dull in our senses. Do you see? So that we take everything for granted, and it's almost as if it should take care of itself.
You know, when you get to Dubai, you pay so much to go for a cruise. You know, that is where there's big time entertainment. There's a lot of action there. You know, you have your dinner there, you have this there, and this is part of their tourism package. Now, I must say that here, some people are trying to do so well. I mean, I think last month I was in Akosombo, you know, and it was beautiful. I mean, when you go on the Dodi Princess, for instance, it's such a beautiful experience. Why can't we clean our beaches? Why can't we, you know, treat our water bodies in such a way that we can take advantage? Because for me, these are things that readily comes to us. You know, we can do so much with all these kinds of, and everywhere you visit in Ghana, there's a bit of tourism there. There's so much we can do.
Yeah.
You know, why are we not paying
But we've
attention?
been very negligent of the water of the water side of tourism. We've been very, very negligent.
From that, look
You
at
know.
our transportation system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Why don't we have proper water transport? We are all crying of traffic,
Yeah.
bad roads and
Yeah.
everything because there are no alternatives. Everybody has to be on the road.
Yeah.
We don't have trains, we don't have water transport, air transport. Yes, in a way, you know, but we can even do better with that. But I'm very much concerned about how we treat our beaches and the fact that we don't seem to pay attention, we don't seem
Yeah.
to care.
Yeah.
However, these are things that can really earn
Let
us
me-
some good income as a nation.
Let me spin this a little different and show you something. You look at the Gambia, Senegal. Look at places like Cabo Verde, that's Cape Verde,
Yeah.
right? There are tourists from Europe that literally every year they will put away money, fly down to come and spend their money in these places, right? Now, Senegal and Gambia, for example, are prime examples
Yeah.
of what you can do with your beaches.
Yeah.
Look, when you go there, you get almost a sense as if this is like mini Europe. When it's high season and the
Yeah.
tourists have arrived,
Yeah.
it's almost like this is where they live. But no, they are on holiday.
Yeah.
You see, we could have had same at Jamestown.
Yes. No,
But look at the choices we make.
You see, the sad thing is we have a lot of visitors coming in. Most of these people going to the Kokobites, going
Yes.
to the Labadis, going
Yes.
to all these amazing places, you know. But the thing is, we just leave things,
To be as whatever will happen, it should
you
just
know,
happen.
and
yeah.
we look on while things deteriorate in this country. And then after years, we now come back, spend money, put a huge budgets together,
Yeah.
go to parliament, go get this, we have to get loads. Look, Ghana is so small, we shouldn't be struggling.
Yeah.
Ghana is so small, we don't have to be hungry, considering all the things we have.
There are two resorts, and at the risk of advertising somebody's resort, there are two resorts that we know along the beach. It's along the
Yeah.
beach, all the way from, let's say, we're looking at about a Wutu area towards Takrade, Axim area, right? We have White Sands.
Yeah.
We have Lumun. These are places that people fly from Europe
Yeah.
and come, and they don't stop in Accra. They just fly, land, get on the bus straight to the resort.
Yeah.
They're not going. They're not coming for anything. Oh, they're just going to come and chill for 2 weeks and go back home.
Yeah.
To Europe. If we were smart, people would come and spend their money along the entire coastal stretch.
Yeah.
Different places. But private people have focused on what they
Their
can
space.
what they can handle.
But of course.
What they can manage.
Yeah.
And look at the influx of people that come for the look. I've never seen any of these two places I've mentioned advertised in Ghana.
You see,
And yet every time their bookings are
some years ago, yeah, I had to deal with some investors from EMAR.
Okay.
And you know EMAR from
Yes.
Dubai.
Yes.
Now, so they asked, can you take us to your most luxurious areas in Accra?
yeah.
So I took them to where I felt.
Where you
know,
thought was
my
the
God.
most
Where I
luxurious.
thought these are the most
Yeah,
luxurious
they
places.
will- they just
We
said-
got to the
they'll
place
be
and-
impressed.
And they were like, is that the place? I say
Yeah.
yes. But they said, but this is not luxury.
Yeah.
Okay? Because when you talk of luxury, it does not just limit you to the building and
Yeah.
what is inside,
Yeah.
the environment.
Environment.
So, for instance, if you say that maybe Tesano is a luxurious area, for
Yeah.
instance, they expect to see that right from the main road.
Yes.
You know, we have proper landscape, the
Trees
areas
are
are
lined
clean,
properly,
you don't see
gutters are
kiosks, you
clean.
don't
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
containers.
Yeah. It all
Because
comes
you
together.
say that you live in a luxurious area, but you come out of your house and the next place is
Yeah.
a container with some. Look, we have a whole kind of, how do we call that? A slum.
Yes.
You
Container
live-
communities.
Your community, your area is next to
Yeah.
a slum, and they say you live in a luxurious area.
Yeah.
You know, so we are paying so much for nothing.
Yeah.
We call the East Legons and all the cantonment areas and all that, but you come out and there are
slums right
hawkers
next to you,
around.
yeah.
We have people living in kiosks around. Look, there's no such place as a luxurious community.
Yeah.
In Ghana.
Anywhere really. That's,
You
yeah,
get it?
exactly.
Because people feel that they live in luxury and it happens in their living rooms
yeah.
and in your own space.
Yeah.
You get out and your community is flooded. You get out and there are no proper drains.
Yeah.
You have potholes all around
Yeah.
you. And we say we live in luxury and people have to pay huge sums of money in dollars, you know, just to say that it is just not worth it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is not worth it at all. Now, when you visit our beaches, sometimes it's even embarrassing. You get it?
And you know, a lot of the footage that just passed here, you see, so there's plastic waste is one of them. But look next to the plastic waste, you see fabric.
Yeah.
This is the bales that are cut from Cantamanto. Okay, when the fabric can no longer be used, or the fabric that, like when you break open the bale and they take out the useful ones, right? All that you see this, all that cannot be used is dumped into our rivers.
Let's not go
and
too
our
far.
streams.
We have
And this is what happens.
people collecting waste
Yeah.
stuff, okay? I mean,
Look
human
at this.
excreta.
Yeah.
And then the dumping ground
Is
is
the sea. Yeah.
And we all forget this. We go to the beach and we just dive into
Yeah.
this. Do you know what you're battling with? This is where we dump our excreta, gosh.
From across the
and
whole
we
city.
are here. And this is where we go fishing.
Yeah.
This is where we are doing a whole lot of stuff. And that is the reality.
Yeah.
This is our beach. And fish is so expensive.
Yeah.
Look, they should be dashing us fishes for free. You get it? Considering. No, but sometimes you just can't cry. So you
Yeah.
laugh about it.
Yeah.
But that is the seriousness of what we are talking about. Do you get it? It's very, very embarrassing as a nation. And look at the size of Ghana. And we can't clean. This is taking brooms to sweep.
Yeah.
This is just literally, we can even pick up stuff. And we can't do
Yeah.
this.
I think that on this score, whoever the monitoring bodies are have totally failed.
But we have
the
a
state.
sanitation ministry.
Well, we do have a sanitation ministry, but the question is that what are we doing?
We have fishing ministry,
Are we
sanitation,
punishing?
water, all these things.
Are we prosecuting? You know, there are people who are responsible to clean our beaches. Okay, but you see, again, if you clean the beach, but you don't stop the source from which the beach filth is coming, you're just pretending to work, and we're
Yeah.
also pretending to pay you.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous.
And that is what it is.
If we're serious about this, we need to stop it from where it enters into the water bodies. The dumping of fabric from places like Cantamanto, right, into lagoons like Kole Lagoon
Yeah.
and so on. We need to stop it from that point. If we don't, what are we doing? It's a complete waste.
Can we use waste substances for biogas? You know,
We can.
we be thinking of recycling
We
of
can.
stuff
Well,
and all that?
well,
as
you
a
see, the thing
nation?
is that the
Because we are
recycling
generating
has
so
actually
much.
begun.
Yeah.
But it's on a very tiny scale.
That's what I
And that's the
mean.
reality.
Do you get it?
Because people are buying bola in other countries.
Yes.
So a place like Sweden, for example, from everything that we know, from a place like Sweden, has figured out ways of generating so much energy from waste that they go to other countries to buy rubbish from other countries in order to power their plants.
Look, sometimes,
You see?
David, you ask yourself,
And
so
then you're asking yourself that, look, there's so much rubbish here that we have. If it's possible to generate power, why are our beaches still dirty?
and it is possible.
We should have
Look,
filled
Dr.
the
Boateng- Dr.
power
Paul
plants
Boateng
by
them
now.
have said this
Yeah.
countless times, you know,
Yeah.
because he has
No, but he has his
demonstrated
own in
this.
his own
exactly.
palace.
People
He's
are
done
using
his
it.
own thing.
The CSIRs are there, you
Yeah.
know, trying to do so much. Why are we not paying attention to some of these institutions?
Yeah.
Bring them in. When you go to the CSIR, they have about 13, you know, branches under them for crop, for water, for power, all these kinds of people. Why don't we sit with them?
Yeah.
Okay. And let them help us solve some of these problems, because that is why they are there.
Yeah, I think even the solutions, a lot of them are even available now. The issue is scaling up to the point where it becomes industrially viable, you know, and
Look,
that's a challenge.
when we had This Is Ghana,
Yeah.
look at all the stuff that CSIR
Yeah,
brought and
yeah.
what they showed us. Do you get it? Why can we not sit
Yeah.
with CSIR properly?
Yeah.
And the kind of researches that these guys have conducted, all sitting on the shelves gathering dust.
Yes, in files and folders, that's it. Anyway, so we've been joined on the line by the acting head of EPA, Godson Kujo-Vuado. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've been talking about beaches this morning. I mean, with all the challenges in the environmental pollution and everything else, I think today's focus is on the beach and our beaches across the country. As far as EPA is concerned, how serious or how severe are the challenges that we're facing?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to be part of this very discussion. But to start with, you know that by our very existence, everybody generates waste.
Yeah.
And everybody, as you wake up from bed, you go to your work, you go about your work, you get back to home, you generate waste.
Mm.
And in the morning, you get up from bed, the first thing to do is to wash your face and clean your mouth.
Mm.
You generate waste. Before you take your breakfast, the breakfast that is prepared, there is some form of waste that is generated out of it.
Yeah.
And you go to work, all our activities generate some form of waste.
Mm.
But the issue now is, how do we handle the waste that we generate?
Mm.
What are the structures and the facilities and then the systems that we have in place to effectively manage the waste that we generate? Once you are a living thing, every living thing generates some form of waste.
Mm.
So, as you said, the beaches are all polluted with waste. But you should also appreciate the fact that it doesn't necessarily mean that all the waste that we see at the beach are actually generated by the people of Ghana. Because waste, the bulk of the waste, it's in the oceans that is thrown on shore. And these are waste that do not need that do not respect any boundary. They circulate around the whole globe and they move around, and then as the current move them, they get to the shore.
Okay.
But honestly, Ghana, we are also contributing some amount of waste to the ocean that is eventually thrown onto the shore.
Mm.
This, all we know, get to the ocean through river systems that enters the sea.
Yeah.
And then the gutters that enters the sea, that carries large amount of waste into the system, into the oceans.
Okay.
And the bulk of it we know is plastics.
Mm.
Yes, because for the organics, eventually they get degraded, they get assimilated into the system. But it's the plastics that is the problem. They get into the oceans, they pollute the ocean floor, they pollute the surface, and they are eventually thrown back onto the shore.
Mm.
So the issue is, what are the structures we have in place to actually effectively collect all this waste and get them treated in a way?
You know, I find it interesting. We always, when we refer to pollution at the beaches, we always refer to plastic pollution. But I also noticed that there's a lot of fabric pollution. And maybe the fabric, per the visuals that we see, may actually be more than even the plastic.
Please, I didn't get you. I think there's a lot of echoes coming from your studio. I didn't get it clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's okay now.
Okay, so I'm saying that a lot of the times we make reference to plastic waste, but I tend to see in a lot of the visuals that we are looking at that there's a lot of fabric waste as well in the rubbish at the beaches.
Yes, it's a mixture. It's a mixture of all kinds of waste that find them their way into the oceans and then that are brought back onto the shore by the currents. So what we are saying is a fact. It's a mixture of, but we want to say that just about 60% of what you find on the beaches are basically plastic.
Okay.
The rest could be fabrics, some could be wood, some could be can, depending on the size and then the weight. You may either find them on the shore or they are even sunk into the ocean floor, which you cannot even see.
Yeah.
But in natural fact, all manner of waste are drifted into the oceans through our river system, through our gutter systems. And the only thing is how effectively we have to be managing those waste on land before they even get back. They get into the oceans.
Okay. So,
and as I said earlier, you see that even from Cote d'Ivoire, waste can drift from Cote d'Ivoire into Ghana shore.
Fair enough.
So the global contribution to waste in the oceans
Yeah.
are part of what we are also experiencing.
Okay, so
And in the same way, ours also get to other jurisdictions and
Okay.
indulge on the shores.
So it brings me to my next question. There are places like Dakar, there are places like Banjul, and other cities in Gambia and Senegal where they have pristine beaches. How do they do this, and what are we not doing right?
I think I want to believe that sometimes the geography of the area can also count so much.
Okay.
Your location can be such that even the ocean, the waste in the oceans are not able to lodge on your coast, depending on the geography and then the current movement. So it is true that if you go to some parts of the globe, so even along the coast of the whole of Africa, some areas do not have waste as other areas have it, because the nature of the coastline is able to receive such amount of waste as they are passing, and it becomes a nuisance. And also the individuals, the citizens of those specific countries, sometimes have their own way of managing the waste. You see, so and this system varies from country to country. Some people are endowed with resources that they are able to even contain the little waste that they are generating. It also depends on the population. So the population, the facilities they have in place all play a role in how effectively or how much waste we are generating and how effectively you can collect what is generated and then taking it out for treatment and final disposal.
All right.
So what you said is true. There is a problem along the whole globe, along the coastline. Some areas receive so much, some areas don't receive. And you have pristine environment in some areas, and some other areas is heavily polluted because of the movement of the plaza along the oceans and then the geography of the coastlines.
So let's come to EPA and the work that you're involved in. What's EPA's responsibility as far as keeping our environment clean?
Yes, we EPA is a regulator, and we look at all aspects of the environment. But you must also bear with us that every component of the system that EPA has some kind of regulatory rollover. There are specific institutions that are mandated by law to take specific actions. When we talk about waste management, we of course are interested stakeholders and collaborators, but there is an institution mandated by law to manage waste in the system, and every waste that is generated and collected and disposed of belongs to a specific institution.
Okay.
And those institutions, you know them, the district assembly systems, Ministry of Local Government, and then they are the key institution mandated to do that. But of course, we have an interest. So what we normally do is that we always interface with them. There are instances where we even develop district waste management plan. We train the district assemblies for them to develop their own district level waste management plan for them to implement in order to effectively manage the waste that is generated within their jurisdiction. So these are some of the contributions as a regulator we do to help the work of the institutions that are mandated by law to take those actions. So these are some of the things that we do to ensure that but we don't actually play the front line role. We are collaborators, we are stakeholders, and we ensure that we dialogue and then find the best way of doing, and then we also develop standards to guide certain activities in the areas of waste management.
Okay, Godson, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give us a grade, a percentage. How well have we done as Ghanaians in managing our environment, especially the beaches? Let's focus on the beaches. How well have we done on a score of 0 to 100?
Yes, from 0 to 100. But what the question you asked is a kind of relative question, because in certain areas, beaches are very clean.
So average it out. Average it out.
Pardon?
Average it out for us.
Yeah, averagely we should be doing about between 70 to 75% of getting our beaches clean.
Really?
Yes, because as I said, these are things that come and then go, and you know that every municipality that has the Gulf of Guinea as their boundary,
yeah,
They ensure that everything that is generated within their boundary are collected, treated, and disposed of appropriately. But these are things that go and come. It's a continuous process.
I wish
so
you could see.
You can collect everything today. You go the next day, something is thrown back onto the shore, and it has to be collected.
I wish you could see the footage that we are looking at. It's so filthy. It's unimaginable that you should be giving us 70% in terms of the effort that we have put into cleaning our beaches. Godson.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm actually very surprised that you should be giving us such high marks. I wish you could see the footage that we are looking at. It doesn't look good at all. And I do realize also that there are a lot of beaches in different parts of the coastal line look like this that I have personally seen. So, 70% is very high.
All right, that is your opinion, but I think there are statistics and there are statistics and literature that point to the fact that we are doing well, because though there are specific spots that are heavily polluted, but generally we should be giving ourselves around that figure.
I see.
Right. So can you help us, with areas, for instance, in Ghana that we can boldly say that, okay, so these areas are highly populated, but when you visit these beaches too, they are not that bad, or they are very clean?
Hello?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to find out is, can you help us, with practical examples? So for instance, when you visit maybe these particular areas, you find that the beaches are not as filthy as other areas. Can you help us, know some of these areas? Which areas form the 70%? If you can help us identify some of these areas.
Yeah, I know that certain parts of the Volta region along the beaches are clean.
Okay.
Yes, when you move from Keta coming towards Anglogan direction, and then even all the way to a bit closer to the estuary where the Volta River enters the sea, you find some parts of it being very clean. The only thing is that on the eastern part of it, you see that material that are drifted into the oceans are also drifted to the eastern part of the coastline. So you find some form of debris, but these are basically organic material, plants, floating weeds that are drifted ashore. And those things, with time, get degraded into the system.
Yeah.
But if you go to the western part of it, you find that those places are relatively cleaner.
Okay.
So you find such spots along the coast as you move towards the western part of the coast.
Now, can you help us with, like, let's say regions like, for instance, Greater Accra probably faces these kind of issues when it comes to sanitation at the beaches, probably because the population here is quite high. Could that be the reason?
I didn't get you clearly, please.
So what I'm trying to know is, would you say that the situation of having filth at our beaches is relative based on regions because of human population? So for instance, Greater Accra, you have a lot of people in here. We have a lot of people going to sea. Could this be a contributory factor of these problems?
Yes, exactly so. You see, the thing is that when along the coastline where population is so close to the beach, structures are so close to the beach, and some communities along the beach are such that even managing waste within is a problem. You find that in such communities, people tend to dump waste close to the sea. That one is a fact. And there are areas where population are not very, very close to the shore. Structures are not very close to the shore. Those are the areas that you find that they are relatively cleaner. But it's a fact that in the heavily populated areas where structures, buildings, residential houses, commercial areas are so close to the beach as we have in the Greater Accra, there is high level of waste that are generated, part of which enters the sea, and then the coastline is somehow also polluting.
So
that one is a fact.
Right. So how do we deal with this? Because people will still live there. This is where they have been. This is our setup. That's how our country is planned. How do we ensure, that our beaches will be clean, and then it can contribute to our national development and our economy.
You are right. These are things. I mean, there should be deliberate policies to get our beaches clean. And I want to believe that the district assemblies that are abutting the Gulf of Guinea and that has the shoreline as their part of their jurisdiction, as much as they manage waste on land, they are also mandated to manage what is on the shore. So we need to be looking at the structures in place in managing those facilities, so that in managing the waste that are generated within those coastlines that are heavily populated. And as citizens, we should also be mindful of the fact that whatever waste we generate, though it is a waste, it is a resource. We should find a way of getting them into a system that the district assemblies can collect them for recycling, because organics can be converted into compost for agriculture. Plastics can be recycled easily for the production of secondary plastic materials. Everything can be recycled, except about 20% of the waste that we generate. So if we look at waste segregation as source, where individual homes are encouraged and assisted to separate the waste that they generate and put them in containers, so that the waste management companies can come and take them for value addition, we will be contributing so much to reducing the level of waste that we generate that eventually produce our beaches.
Now let me pick your mind.
So these are some of the things.
Right, let me pick your mind on this. When you assess the way state institutions and citizens are handling, sanitation issues, especially at the beaches. So we have EPA, we have Sanitation Ministry, we have Coastal Development, we have tourism. Well, all these people, are we going to solve this problem realistically? Can we deal with it? Is there going to be a time that our beaches will be very clean?
As I said, the beaches can be clean today, and the next moment, other things are thrown on shore from the sea. So it will be a continuous fight, because, as I said, waste do not respect boundaries.
No,
they are always floating in the oceans and coming. So our beaches, we can clean. We are doing so much.
Yeah, no, I
know that the authorities are doing so much, but still the problem is there, because you cannot prevent it completely, because they are in the oceans coming on shore.
I get that. I get that very well. I understand that very well. But my question is, can we deal with it? Can we solve this problem? Can we, for instance, put measures in place to say that, so when we have these fields coming in, not from our space, because citizens are doing their part, Ghanaian authorities are doing their part, but when we have foreign materials coming in, these are things we can do to make sure that they do not escalate, they do not become something that we are all overwhelmed. Do you think that from the way we are moving as a nation with our policies, with our practices, this is something that can be dealt with?
No, it can be done. It can be done. Probably we only have, there are structures already in place, some structures in place. There are institutions that are even already cleaning the beaches. You know of Zoil. That is always cleaning the beaches. And what we can probably do as a nation is to look at what they have done so far, the solutions that they've talked, their challenges, and see how we can improve upon that. And even form more of those associations along the coast. And this can be handled within the districts, within the coast, so that we have such as groupings recognized, giving the shore to be cleaning frequently. And if we do that, learning from the experiences of those that are already doing it, I think we can do it. We can do it.
Gonzo, I have one more question. You made reference to the fact that we as citizens should also help the waste management people by segregating our waste so that they can pick it up. Now, I can tell you for a fact that in my home, for about a year, we were doing segregation. Unfortunately, we gave up on the segregation because what happens is that you separate plastics from the bio waste, and as soon as the waste management company comes to pick up the waste, they mix everything together in the same receptacle. What is the EPA doing to influence regulation in this aspect?
Yeah, what you said, it's true. And then I think all this one boils down on the system, the infrastructure, and then the facilities that the waste management companies have in order to manage the waste effectively. What I also noticed is that segregations are done in some homes, as you said. When the waste management companies come, they just look at the fractions that they can easily manage, and they pick it and hang it on the truck. The rest is put together.
Yeah.
But we are saying that with the waste segregation, it can be done, and then the waste management company should be assisted to get the various facilities that they can use to manage the various fractions of the waste. If it's organic should be taken. Probably we can have a system of collection where paper and plastics will be collected only once in a week, so that people can pack those ones separately. Organics should be taken on a daily basis, or even if it's two days interval, such that we don't go at one time put everything together.
Yeah.
So we should have time when probably we go and pick only paper, and because if you keep paper and plastics in the corner of your house, it will not decay and give any foul odor.
Yeah.
And if we can put that structures in the district assembly system, and the waste management companies could be supported to have, probably even they can have these smaller trucks that can go on daily basis to take the organic part. But the plastics can be put somewhere for at least even if once a week. Then they go with a separate truck and pick those ones once a week. And if those structures are designed with some form of incentive, you'll see that people will be willing to segregate, keep it in the corners, or knowing very well that comes next Saturday, this truck will come and pick the things away.
Yeah.
It will work. So we need to get back to the drawing board. Look at all the good things that we have, reorganize them, restructure them, and then we take it up. I think all these things are good ideas that are there. The only thing is that we need to reorganize ourselves, look at the issues, and see how effectively this can be done. And I know it can be done. So these are some of the things that I think can be done with the waste segregation. When we did the GPA did this pilot in the ministries, we had success rate of about 65% in the ministries, and in the schools that we did, we had about 89 to 93% success rate. Because the system, they were able, they do the very good segregation. You find a lot of plastics and paper, but organics you don't find. Because that school system, you don't find that thing. But in the ministries, you find the organics more, and then the rest are less. So you see that there is some cross-contamination. But it's a pilot, we've learned so much from it. And I think these are things that other people are also implementing, the institutions and NGOs, civil society organizations are implementing. We can repackage all those things and then launch it global, nationwide. And gradually, we will be learning from our flaws, and we will perfect it. And in time, we'll become one of the best in managing waste in our system.
Thank you very much, Godson. We've been speaking with Mr. Godson Kujo Vuado. He is the acting director of the EPA. All right, Frima, you know, what was that quote that we said we were talking about earlier on about action? The fact that we have to get on the ground and implement. We can all talk a good game, you know, when it comes to it. But the footage that we are looking at is it's self-explanatory. It shows where we are.
Yeah.
You know, and what we've not been able to do
here in this
so
country. I believe that we have all the ideas, we have all the plans, you know, we have everything we need to do, okay? But the thing is, we are left with getting down to the ground to start the work, okay? Now, what happened to the Marine Drive? I don't know where we are with that, okay? And this is going to be happening on our coastal line. Okay. We have a whole authority, you know, the coastal development is there.
You see what the Ivorians have done with their Marine Drive.
Do you get it?
See it, proper one.
So we have plans. We know that, yes, we can do so much with this, and we want to do this, we want to do that. And then all these remain plans. Okay. When are we going to start? Okay. When are we look, if every institution, if every citizen will do their part, Ghana will not be like this. I would say that we are a very small country.
We are.
Why and how can't we take care of ourselves?
Well, You know what? Let's take a look at this report brought to us by our colleague Philip Nilate on the food security challenges that we are going to be facing as a result of the same issue of pollution of our beaches.
Ocean plastic debris injures and kills fishes, seabirds, and marine mammals. Plastic pollution has a direct and deadly effect on the sea and the fishes within. This has been the challenge of most fishermen in fishing communities. The fishermen have on several occasions lamented how this is having a toll on their operations.
Koni ni ke bola ni na cha wodwa nuwe mi ni ya nshone mi na sana ke bola tisi kwa ma akuchu mi kona afele na anya sumo sa na nyansa wo fa ana ka ro kwa sana obla fe ju ni ba ka nye ba nshom ke ba nshom mi lo na che ke lo ya na le bola na che e boti o mi egbe olo ye nu ni o tiji ni gba wo na je o tiji ni gba ka je o ti wo ra ko sha lo wa wo lo e ju e ke mi gogo miji ke mi feji ke ni bi e ko me 50 wo ya ji ke ni bi fin lo la so ti wo ni bo la so to ato lo ko ba sian e ko ju e ke ni bi e ba won pa amalo e fa yi ko ni eye ko han wo ye ju egbe fangbe aloke ye wo wa fo ni afia wo ye lo pe ji ni gba wo no ti
ya ba du bola bo e ne se create mo 20 na wa na low create enyo pe create low create enyo na wa na bola create 20 years tachi to mo bin tachi ni wa pa fai wo sun si wa pa fai wo kan si wa pa fai ahun ka ma ge bola je tesi man no ni jo tesi man e se noko si meni yo ke je lo le gbe ni ese ke ya lo le gbe ni ese ke ya na me fura mi si ai worry aba bu ajo e na kotoku ke ni mo ni ba me bon gota ke ju e ke gota mi.
The Sustainable Development Goal 14 talks about this issue. It is about conserving and sustainably using the oceans, seas, and marine resources. Healthy oceans and sea are essential to human existence and life on Earth. They cover 70% of the planet and provide food, energy, and water. The ocean absorbs about 1/4 of the world's annual carbon dioxide emissions, thereby mitigating climate change and alleviating its impact. It is essential to conserve and sustainably use them, yet human activities is endangering the ocean. In a bid to address this menace, government, individuals and agencies have a role to play.
We are not just coming here to clean, we are in a way telling the public, educating the community, creating awareness about the importance of keeping our ocean clean. And so we are not just coming here to clean, but as we are leading by example, we are informing all Ghanaians, creating awareness that we need to, conserve our ocean, our beaches, so that we can, it will not affect the food security in the future. I would like to use this medium to entreat all Ghanaians, especially the community members, to be conscious of how they trash filth around and all that. Wherever you are trashing your filth or where you are dumping a refuse, it will end up in the ocean, it will end up in the sea. And so let's be conscious of how we just trash filth around and all that to prevent rubbish entering the ocean.
It is our responsibility to keep our beaches clean as part of measures to save our ocean and also to help address the issue of dwindling fish stock in this country.
All right, so there you have that report there. And there's only one question that comes to mind. The people that you see in your footage, in the footage that we just looked at, all right, cleaning the beaches, they don't live at those beaches. What has happened to our district assemblies who will insist on residents cleaning your frontage? When we say clean your frontage, this is also part of clean your frontage. So what has happened to that? Where now it's become the thing where champions of environmental cleanliness are the ones who go out to clean the beaches of other people who live at those beaches. And yet we have district assemblies who supervise those jurisdictions. That's a problem. Because if we say at district assemblies we have mandated them to make sure, and in some of our neighborhoods, Achimota, North Kanishi, and so on, the district assembly will come and they'll make sure that your frontage is clean, your gutters are clean, and if you are not, they'll fine you. What about the beach? There are people that live at the beaches, and a lot of their waste is generated from elsewhere that comes there, but it's your frontage. And so, yes, the environmental champions will come in, but district assemblies that are there to supervise, what are we doing? Because it falls under your purview.
But of course, look.
You know? So whether it's oil, it is, whichever sanitation officers or whatever, and the residents.
You see, I don't think that we should only limit cleaning the beaches to some form of an activity where we mobilize people, and then some people from somewhere all come together and say, today we are going to clean the beach. You know, like Godson said, it's a daily
activity, exactly.
It's a continuous something that we need to do. Everybody, look, you get up every day, you sweep your house, you clean your environment.
Yes.
It should extend to those living around the beaches. Well, we know that you don't generate all the filth around.
Comes,
and that is why we are advocating that clean your space.
Yes.
Okay.
If you clean your space, another one cleans theirs, another one cleans theirs.
Where we consider no man's land, let's have the other bodies come in to clean. Let's all come together, you know, to do cleanup exercises and all that. But people living in these areas, you know, families, the assemblies must take it upon themselves that, look, let's say the Achimota area, Ga South Assembly, Ga East, these people, we are concerned if we have a beach in our area. Our focus is keeping the beach in our district, in our municipality, in our own space. No, we are responsible for this. Let's do it. Can we begin to charge people on this score? You know, just so we know that if you are doing your part, if he is doing their part, if she is doing their part, collectively we are doing something. We are getting somewhere. But if you all sit down, wait for the Zoom Lions and all the other people
and other,
to come
NGOs
in.
and organizations to come and
so
come
if
and
the NGOs are not coming in, it means that nothing is being done.
Meanwhile, the NGOs are fewer in number than the residents.
Of course.
So if you think about it, if the fewer people can come in for 2 hours, and so much work is done, and the beaches are so clean and looking beautiful.
Look, David,
what happens to the residents who live there?
Can we look at the assemblies paying attention to the beaches in their areas? Okay, can we look at residents taking care of the filth at the beaches in their communities? Okay, and then leave the ones that Godson mentioned, you know, that come through, you know, from elsewhere, not even Ghana, you know, to the bigger companies to handle. Okay, because that's going to be less of work. Because now, while they are taking care of all these filth coming in, they are also
taking care of other people's filth that has been generated by people who will not clean their own space.
Do you get it? Where are we getting to? If this is our approach, listen, we will not get anywhere. We'll just come back every day, talk about this, take the cleaning as some form of keep fit exercise, go do it, finish and do some small aerobics, eat kenke, come back home, wait for another 2-3 months, and then go back. And then, like you mentioned, human beings live there. And so every day, at every point in time, we are generating waste.
Listen, unless we become more disciplined about what we're doing, just like the keep fit, the kenke that we eat after keep fit, it will be zero work done. You didn't exercise the whole entire month. The one day that you went to go and exercise, you have eaten enough kenke to deplete all the efforts of the exercise that you have done.
Fried eggs and pork and beer, then you come home.
At the end of the day, it's a description of who we are and where we find ourselves.